Welcome to Health Secrets of the Bible. My screen name is Stellar Hope because there's always hope with Jesus. Jesus really is the hope of the world, the hope of the nations. He's the one who conquered hell, death, and the grave, and Jesus will come again some great and glorious day. So let's have a glass of wine with Jesus tonight. This wine is a dark red wine. And the dark red wine is the healthiest. So if you drink wine, when you drink wine, get a dark red wine. This particular wine is from France. The French wine and the California wine, the nice thing about them is they don't add extra sugars. So it's all wine, it's all grapes, natural fermented grapes without added sugar. Now the Oregon wines, the Washington wines that are so beautiful and so luscious, no, they add extra sugar to ferment. So to be healthier and cleaner, try to get an organic wine from California, a red wine. And French wines are nice. They don't have the added sugar. And the Italian and Spanish wines are nice too because they're a warmer climate. Okay, so let's do our wine with Jesus. Did you know that the very first miracle that Jesus did was he turned water into wine? Yeah. I thought that was interesting. Years ago, I never drank wine and, really didn't drink alcohol. And then after I had chemotherapy 30 years ago, my whole system was basically destroyed. So my body didn't have any neurotransmitters or any sense of well-being. I was basically poisoned to death. And then Jesus touched me from heaven, healed me of the cancer, and recuperated me over a period of time from the effects of chemotherapy because of his mercy. So when I was in such a bad way from the chemo, I asked Jesus, I said, Jesus, what does it take to be healthy? Share your health secrets with me. And lo and behold, the very first miracle that he did was turn water into wine. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Now, first of all, Chuck Missler says it was alcoholic wine because of the time of year that the wedding was in. So if you don't like alcohol, you can drink non-alcoholic wine too and get the same health benefits. Now, one of the things that wine does is for ladies, wine increases estrogen in the body. Wine increases dopamine. Dopamine's in the brain and in the body, and it helps with ease of physical movement. It helps with quick thought, dopamine does, and a sense of well-being. They've done studies that people that do drink wine, that they have lower rates of Alzheimer's and dementia. And one of the studies showed that at night when we sleep, we have the cerebral spinal fluid that actually is in the brain. The brain cerebral spinal fluid that cleans the brains of the plaques that cause the Alzheimer's and dementias. And they showed that wine actually does help clean the plaques. Make sure you drink organic wine because grape has lots of pesticides on it. Grapes do. And we don't want pesticides because pesticides are carcinogenic. Now what I want to do is talk about some other things. I want to look up my article here that I got on the wine. But there's a couple other things that I want to mention. Wine is a vasodilator. If you're a person that your blood pressure goes up at night, that's not really healthy. But wine dilates the blood vessels. That's why you get a warm feeling. Now, just so you know, drunkenness is prohibited. King Solomon, he said that a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. And King Solomon also said that wine maketh the heart merry. And Ken Johnson, he was saying that Noah didn't get drunk from wine, that back in the day that they used wine as a relaxant and sleep aid. So believe me, wine is much healthier than anti-anxiety drugs prescribed by the doctors and pharmacists. I avoid doctors as much as I can. Okay, so I want to look up the article that I got on wine. So we've talked about some of the health benefits of wine. Okay, we go to the Gmail. So anyway, what happened with Jesus when he did his first miracle? He was up north in a town called Cana of Galilee. So it was up north by Lake Galilee. And Jerusalem was down south. Now, what's really interesting, it's kind of like Washington State. There's Seattle and Olympia with all the wealthy elites, and then there's the rest of the state, like Spokane, with the regular people. Well, Jesus hung with the regular people. Jesus was a populist, actually. Yeah, I'd like to do some studies on that. See, Jesus went right to the people. He didn't go to the elite class of politicians. He didn't go to the elite class of preachers. He actually did go to some of the soldiers. Yeah, he did go to the soldiers, but, well, actually they came to him. Okay, so anyway, what happened is they had a wedding up in Cana of Galilee, and something really bad happened. They ran out of wine, okay? They ran out of wine, and that was like, like a devastating thing. And so, here's my cat. Hey, coming back off. So Jesus' mom came to him and says, look, they don't have any wine, Jesus. Help, have mercy, you got to do something, help. And Jesus says, Mom, my time's not yet. What does that have to do with me? And, well, his mama needed help, okay? And the people needed help. And so she went to all the servants who served the food, and she said, okay, just do what my son tells you. And Jesus, he had mercy on his mama, and he had mercy on all the people there so that nobody, was embarrassed or humiliated. So what Jesus did is Jesus said, okay, you go and get all these jugs and fill them up with water. Now those jugs were ceremonial, religious water jugs that the Jews used for their cleaning and their rituals. And there was one place I read in the Bible that, God says, look, I am so tired of the water of ritual. He said, no, I want the wine of love, of relationship. In the scriptures, wine is a symbol of love. In the Song of Solomon, it's, your love is better than wine. So that's a symbol of what happens symbolically there is Jesus turned the cold, loveless ritual of religion into love, a love relationship between the human heart and the creator of humanity. I would never tell you to go to a church or join a religion. No, it's love. love God. The people came to Jesus. And in fact, it was some mean old Pharisees. They're like the politicians. They think they're better than everybody else. And they said, what's the greatest commandment? They tried to trap Jesus. And Jesus says, look, this is it. Here the Lord your God is one. He's one with you. Therefore, love the Lord your God with all your mind, all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. That's the greatest command. And then love your neighbor as yourself. Simple human kindness, and, be kind to yourself. Okay, so anyway, let's see, where was I? Okay, so back to the turning the water to wine. So there's the water. And Jesus says, okay, you servants, the humble people, fill it up, fill all these empty ritual waters, jugs with water. And then he says, okay, now take it out and give it to the master of the feast. And they gave it to him, and instead of water, there was wine in it. And all of his disciples and the servants saw that first miracle that Jesus did and believed on him. No human being has the ability to change physical reality except for God. He does. God changed the physics of water into wine, and that God is Jesus of Nazareth. Okay, so wine is medicine. So I've got this article that I pulled up, and just one of the articles. Okay, so people have been drinking wine at least since 6000 BC. And actually the first record of what somebody drank was Noah drinking wine. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so there's studies on all the health benefits of wine. Okay, a daily glass of wine boosts antioxidants. It increases the good cholesterol. And of course, you don't want to overdo it. Now, there's something else interesting about wine, is they've been discovering that in our gut, our intestinal tract, that there's all this good stuff called beneficial bacteria. The yogurt has the bifidus and all the beneficial bacteria. And that wine, the people who do drink wine, have more beneficial bacteria, and that increases dopamine. Okay, I'll just be real quick here. So wine boosts antioxidants. Resveratrol is the main one, polyphenols and flavonoids in resveratrol. Those are antioxidants that protect the cells and tissues. Especially red wine is loaded with them, that is protective against heart disease, may limit arteriosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries, increases the good cholesterol, lessens risk of heart attack, decreases risk of heart disease, may reduce risk of stroke, good for your gut, lowers stress and anxiety, especially if you're a widow. If you're a widow and you live alone at night instead of having your husband or your family there to help you de-stress, a glass of wine is helpful. And it decreases diabetes risk. Isn't that interesting? An analysis found that there's a 30% reduced risk of type 2 diabetes in moderate drinks. So there we go. So there we are. So those are just some of them. Now they did use wine as a medicine, and which is really interesting. There was a story that Jesus told that Chuck Missler, the best Bible teacher that ever lived, except for Jesus, Missler, he believed that wine, the parable of the Good Samaritan. Okay, so there was the Good Samaritan. So there was a man that got hurt really bad. Some robbers, just mutilated him, basically, and they stole everything he had. And then a priest came by, a man who's supposed to care for his people, and the priest looked at him and says, nah, like a politician. I don't have any mercy on him. Okay, then a Levite walked by, and the Levites, the guys, the priest and the Levites, they're the ones, like the ministers today, the ones who are supposed to care for the hurting people. And so that Levite walked by. He said, nah, I don't want to help him. They didn't have mercy. They lacked mercy. Wow. Okay, so then this Samaritan comes by. This guy that, he's kind of looked down on. And the Samaritan took wine. He had wine. They used it as a disinfectant. They had wine, and he actually cleansed the wounds with wine. So wine actually is antiviral and antibacterial. And he cleansed the wound with wine, and then he put olive oil on it as a dressing to the wounds. So wine is medicinal. I've read recently that they've even found cases, or not cases, but these jars made of clay of wine. Oh, my cat's attacking me here. Okay, well, it's been a great night with you, and I'll be back with more information on wine. Okay, cheers in Christ.